So I'm off to Manchester to show support with Palestinians, mainly because I do not agree with our politicians washing their hands like Pontius Pilates and practically giving Israel a carte blanche to do as they see fit. I find it extremely poor that our politicians refuse to see what happened in Israel outside the historical context. People do not just wake up one morning and become so inhuman that they massacre innocent people.
With no convictions. In a prison, people are given 3 square meals a day, access to healthcare. In Gaza, you have no such thing. In a prison, you have a release date. In Gaza, you have no such thing. No one is allowed in and no one is allowed out. That's a classic definition of a concentration camp under a brutal, brutal, brutal occupation. This is not an issue for Muslims. It is an issue of humanity, and it transgresses any religion. And it is equally important that all of us, as humans around the world, come together and we raise our voices for the freedom and the rights of the Palestinian people, which are entrenched in international law, and there have been Geneva Conventions. The Geneva Convention is there to protect them. The resolutions at the UN, resolution after resolution after resolution, but no action, because there is lack of political will, there is lack of backbone, there is lack of courage in our politicians that represent us. It is therefore important for all of us not to just come out when the bombing starts. It is important that we continue the dialogue, we continue to write to our politicians, we continue to protest and raise voices, because otherwise, my brothers and sisters from all religions from around the world, we will again fail the Palestinian people, and we cannot leave that legacy for our next generations to come. It is important that we remain active. It is important that we continue the dialogue and we press and press and press the politicians until they develop the moral courage to actually speak on behalf of the people who elected them. My sincere thank you to all of you for coming out. Once again, free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! 1, 2, 3, 4! Occupation no more! 5, 6, 7, 8! Israel is a terrorist state! Gaza, don't you cry! We will never let you die! Gaza, don't you cry!
Who has enabled Israel to become an oppressor, to become an apartheid state? Governments in Israel have been stealing land, displacing people, killing people, limiting the movement of people for decades. Why is there no sanctions on Israel? Why have we continuously supplied Israel with arms? Why have we allowed Israel to get nuclear weapons? Is Israel above international law purely because they are a Western ally? How does that sit with us supporting and arming the Ukrainians? After all, Russia is invading and stealing land, but we imposed sanctions and are supplying the Ukrainians with why the double standards? Surely, if Western politicians are serious of a two-state solution, we would be putting pressure on Israel to respect international law. So the conclusion is that we are not serious about it, that we are perfectly happy for Israel to be an apartheid state. And I think that's why thousands of people are out on the streets, not because they are anti-Jewish, but because they know this is unjust and that the status quo needs changing if we want peace in the Middle East. And that includes being tough on the government of Israel as well as being tough on Hamas.